Follow, follow the sun, follow the sun, follow the sun, follow, follow the sun, follow the sun. Follow the sun, 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 follow the sun. Follow the sun, follow the sun, follow the sun. So a big welcome. I can see some of you linking in there. Always lovely to see a few faces. I know you can't see your face, but I feel as though I do. Gordon Harper, Liz Harris, Rachel O'Reilly, Jan Reuters. Great, lovely, and some others of you have scrolled through before I could catch you. Isalinda Damas from Portugal. That's beautiful, beautiful. Lovely, lovely. And Francis, all the way from Finland, Shaman country, Sami country. So tonight's topic, this Sovereign Earth 55 already, over halfway. Sovereign Earth 55, the sun, and the sun as deity. So I'm going to sing some songs, I'm going to share some thoughts. Some of it might seem a bit random. Within it might be some pebbles drop and some connections made, as happens with me each time I dip into these topics. So here we are, sun as deity. And where does the word, we'll touch on deity later. But of course the word day, day, D-E-I is a god, D-A-Y is the day. It comes from the sun as deity. The daisy as the god's eye, daisy, the flower as a god's eye. And of course, we're completely and utterly dependent on the sun. We kind of take that for granted, I think, don't we? I certainly have at times. And yet it's like the sun is hugging, it's giving us a big continual hug and bestowing life force into the earth. Let's just start with a song. This song was sung to me by two young girls who came round a camp I was on. They woke everyone on the camp up at dawn singing this song. It was a beautiful way to be woken up. They did, I might not sing it nearly as gloriously as they did, but this was some years ago and it was a glorious sunny summer's day. Wake up, wake up, wake up, rise with the rising sun. Listen to your heart. We are one, we are one, we are one. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Rise with the rising sun. Listen to your heart. We are one, we are one, we are one. Simple song, but listen to your heart. And the truth is, the more I've delved into sun, as I've looked at this topic, the more I've come to realise the sun is heart, the sun is soul, The sun is the beating heart, its soul, its love. The sun embodies love. But we'll come into that later a bit more deeply. I'm just giving you a glimpse. So of course here we sit, and yesterday was an eclipse of the sun, and we're coming up to the solstice in a few days, winter solstice here. Perhaps if you're in the southern hemisphere, it will be the summer solstice. But let me just focus for a minute or two on the eclipse, because it hints at, or more than hints, it's a demonstration of the sun's magic. So of course it's quite a rare event to get a full eclipse. And there was one in Chile and Argentina. It was visible yesterday, and I watched as a part of it as it was unfolding. And of course the moon, at that point, the moon goes across the sun, and if it's a partial eclipse, we only get part of the sun covered. And what have I got here to just... So this isn't going to work exactly, but suppose this is the moon and this is the sun, and it's coming across. I'll move the candle, and it eclipses the sun. And do you know what the magical thing about the sun and the moon, their relationship in size, diameter and distance? If this is the sun, it's 400 times bigger than the moon, but it's also 400 times more distant. So they balance each other out, and we live in this remarkable place on Earth where the moon and the sun appear as equal in size. And because of that, an eclipse can occur, which shades out the sun. And then, I'm going to tell you what happened. I went to Cornwall, I think was it 2000? Some of you will remember. I went down at the last minute with my son. I just thought this is once in a lifetime opportunity. The forecast was terrible, the weather. A lot of people had gone down to Cornwall. There were supposed to be camps and festivals, but of course, my sister lives down there, so we showed up. We rocked up out the blue for dawn. And she's down on the Lizard, and we were really lucky. We observed this phenomenal event, which is quite life transforming. It's like a mystical experience. My son, who is a total rational scientist, he was blown away with it. He wanted to follow them around the world from then on. He's got a family, and that's not so easy now, but that was his wish when he was with me that day. So the sun comes across, and the sun is obscured, but this magical phenomenon happens where something called the corona, what else in this time of corona? The corona, which is the light around the edge of the sun, it shows up when the moon covers it. The corona is revealed. It's there all the time, but the only time you see it is in an eclipse. And it's remarkable as the sun races, the darkness races across the ocean. That's where I was, on the coast. And all the birds go silent, and the plants close up. And there's just a feeling of awe in the world. And of course also there's this relationship between sun and moon there. It's the conjunction of opposites. It's like, and of course there's a diamond ring effect where a light shines over to the side. Where would I put it to show you? Here. So it's like if there was light all the way around here, and then as the sun just goes in, there's a last bit of the sun, and it's like a diamond ring effect. And it's also called a honeymoon. So it's a relationship to marriage and union and union of opposites. Now, as an illustration of just how important eclipses have been over the years, there's a story from 2136 BC. How do I know? Well, it's been documented. This is, so say, there were two astronomers called, would you believe it, Ho and He. Let me check that. Ho and He, I think they were. Yeah, Ho and He. H-O and H-I. Sounds like Teletubbies. But these were astronomers in ancient China. It was their job to predict the eclipses. And when the eclipses came, their belief was that either a sacred dog or a beast of a dog or a dragon was chomping a bit out of the side of the sun. And all the people gathered and they made a huge noise to repel the dog or the dragon, the beast. But on this occasion, 2136 BC, Ho and He failed to predict the eclipse. What do you think happened? They were executed. That's what it meant to the emperor to have his eclipses foretold. Of course, the other thing that's happening this week, there's a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, I'm talking about the sun tonight, but that's another major event. Talking of conjunctions, if you notice, I had a conjunction with a door, at the side of a door earlier when I was bringing some wood in for the fire. That was my conjunction, the moon with a door. So solstice is coming. We're very close. This is the whole thing about midwinter. We go to this deep, dark, silent place where the sun stands still. It moves to its point of stillness. And that's coming up next Monday morning. And this whole weekend is dedicated to celebrating things associated with that. And many of you will be celebrating, maybe simply, maybe in this fashion, electronically, but there's a beautiful, just lighting a candle is very special. For the sun stands still at solstice, let us all do the same, and in a blinding instant, connect with all by name. As the sun stands still at solstice, let us all do the same, and in that blinding instant, connect with all by name. So that's a little bit of, yes, eclipse, solstice, a hint at its magic and its mystery. But there's more, as we'll see. A couple of sayings to do with the sun that just give us a flavour. Hafiz, 13th century Persian poet, one of my favourites. Well, he is for sure. The earth would die if the sun stopped kissing her. The earth would die if the sun stopped kissing her. How true is that? Confucius, 3 things which cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, the truth. That's like a druid triad, isn't it? 3 things which cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, the truth. I'll share this. This is another of Hafiz, and it's one of my all-time favourite sayings. The sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole world. The sun is unconditional love epitomised. And for those who might claim it's an object and not conscious, I would dispute that. For me, the sun is a living being radiating unconditional love, which is how come we can feel it. But perhaps a little more of that later. I was going to have a song, but I'll save the song for in a little bit. A little bit of the science, because this is important and quite fascinating. And we might think we know so much about the sun, but I mean, these reminders to me were it is stunning. So more than 99.8% of our solar system, in terms of mass, is the sun. So it's pretty much, and most of the rest of it, by the way, is Jupiter. We're relatively insignificant, Earth, in terms of the mass of the solar system. So it's 70% hydrogen. 70% of the sun is hydrogen, the gas, and 28% helium. Now, each second, these statistics are beyond mind-blowing. Each second, 700 million tons of hydrogen are burnt and converted to around 695 million tons of helium. So 700 million tons of hydrogen into 695 million tons of helium. So what happens to the other 5 million tons? Well, that's converted into gamma rays, into energy, into heat. So the temperature, I mean, it doesn't matter, you can't get your head around these figures, it's enough to just clock them as being significant. The temperature at the core of the sun is, and don't ask me how they work this out, but the temperature at the core of the sun is reckoned to be 15.6 million degrees Kelvin. Now, yeah, it's hot. The pressure is 250 billion atmospheres. Its density is 150 times that of water. It generates 386 billion megawatts each second. So yeah, and it's just, what comes through from it, it's just unbelievably magnificent and mind-blowingly huge and beautiful. The statistics kind of pale, don't they? We can't get our heads around them. Well, I can't, you might. The other thing that's significant about the sun, it emits a stream of charged particles called the solar wind. And they travel at 450 kilometres a second, or 280 miles if you're like me. 280 miles a second. So, well, just on the solar wind, just while I think of it, a poem I wrote years ago. Love is a subtle energy, born of the solar wind. Love is a subtle energy, born on, as in carried, and born of, as in birthed, the solar wind. Okay, let's have a song. Sun and moon unite, give birth to the rainbow people of this earth. A new dream you can all take part. A rainbow sings within my heart. A rainbow sings within my heart. Sun and moon unite, give birth to the rainbow people of the earth. A new dream we can all take part. A rainbow sings within my heart. A rainbow sings within my heart. I'd love you to join me wherever you are. Sun and moon unite, give birth to the rainbow people of the earth. A new dream we can all take part. A rainbow sings within my heart. A rainbow sings within my heart. Bit of fun. Songs lighten it up a bit. It can be too much talk, and sometimes they go a bit deep and then it's a bit lighter. Thinking of lighter, how about a couple of these? This one from Muhammad Ali. Rest but never quit. Even the sun has a sinking spell each evening, but it always rises next morning. At sunrise, every soul is born again. Muhammad Ali. Yeah, the sun has a sinking spell each evening, but it always rises next morning. At sunrise, every soul is born again. He wasn't just a great boxer, was he? What about this one from John Lennon? When you do something beautiful and noble, or noble and beautiful, I think was how you wrote it, nobody notices, don't be sad. For the sun every morning is a beautiful spectacle, and yet most of the audience still sleeps. And I've got underneath his quote, yeah, we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. He wrote some beautiful songs, and that was a lovely quote. So that we had a little bit of the science. I want to go towards the sun as deity. So we talked about Dei, D-E-I, and Sol and Soul. It's also interesting, the sun wasn't just known, or isn't, in some cultures it was feminine. Sahul, was that right? Sahul, yeah, she brought she had wings and carried news of battles won, and which was glory in those days. I've forgotten which culture that was from. Sahul, Middle East, I think. But this one is interesting. Amaterasu. She's the apparently most revered goddess in the Shinto religion, the goddess of the sun, and she gave birth to all the emperors, all the Japanese emperors. Now, the thing that keeps coming up for me again and again with the sun is how it was revered by our ancestors, right the way. I want to just look at that in a minute, and my vision here is that, well, Sovereign Earth vision, as some of you know, is for humanity to hold nature as being sacred once more. For humanity to hold nature as being sacred once again. And I'm offering these Sovereign Earth modules or beads on a necklace, on a mala. I'm looking to offer 108, so 55, I'm just over halfway. And the reason I'm offering 108 is for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons, or a clue as to the reason, in Sanskrit there were 52 alphabets, 2 halves to the alphabet, 54 each. And I don't know how the ancients knew it, but I've talked of this before. There's 108 suns, the diameter of 108 suns from here on Earth to the sun, and the diameter and the breadth of the sun is 108 Earths, or nearly, maybe a bit more, but very nearly, near enough to make one wonder. And of course, in yoga practice and in Hindu tradition, 108 sun salutations. And those sun salutations, revering the sun as God, as deity. Surya, what was it? I've forgotten the term. I'll come across it at some point. Oh, here we are. Surya Namaskar in Sanskrit means sun salute. To salute to the sun. 108 of those. So, interestingly, when one digs a little bit, early Christians, there's some hints that there was a previous deity. In the Old Testament, in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2, it says, the Son of Righteousness, referring to the Son of Justice. But it doesn't spell it S-O-N, it spells it S-U-N, the Son of Righteousness. Now, whether the censors didn't get to that one or they missed that redaction in the released version, who knows? The Son in this ancient text, the Son of Righteousness. And in fact, in the early Christians, the earliest Christians, they used to face east. They used to face towards the rising sun, the place of the sun. And there was the Roman historian Tertullian, I think, when was he? 160 to 220 AD. So around 200 AD, he referred to them as being worshippers of the sun because they faced east. Of course, they were worshippers of Christ, and that's fair enough. Different sun, Son of God. But the early churches particularly, and it's still embodied in the architecture of a church, it's on an east-west alignment. The altar is in the east so that the people face the east when they face the altar. And that reflects the temple, the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. So another tradition with relationship to the sun. Just leaving the mind open, because more and more, as we shall see, the sun figures in our history and has been forgotten and neglected, I would suggest. So my proposition is that rather than Son of God, it's God of Sun. But we'll see. It's up for you to make your own assessment. So some sun monuments, this is remarkable, sun monuments in history. There's one at a place called Nabta Playa. It's in the Nubian Desert. Where's that? That's 800 miles south of Cairo, so in the Nile Valley. And that's 7,500 BC, so nearly 10,000 years old. And it's aligned to the summer solstice. They've shown that. So the sun, and of course in Egypt, Ra, the god Ra, the sun god. There's this fascinating one I didn't really know about in a place called Goseck in Germany, in Saxony, thereabouts. And it's more relatively recently discovered towards the end of the 20th century or even in the beginning of the 21st. And it's called, they call it the Sonnenobservatorium. Germans love long words. And it's Sonnenobservatorium, Sun Observatory. And again, that's 49th century BCE to the 47th century BCE that was in operation, they've sussed. And it's aligned particularly with the winter sunrise and the winter solstice sunrise, winter solstice sunset, all those millennia ago. 7 millennia ago, 7,000 years ago. It's incredible to think of people venerating the sun much as we are coming to again. Another one in Malta, in a place called Monajdra on the south coast of Malta. And it's 4th millennium BC, several thousand years old. And this one aligns with the vernal and the autumn equinox. So it's equinox aligned, but there's a doorway to the equinoxes. But either side of the doorway is a pillar that is illuminated at the solstice. So the solstice figured and came into the equation, into the celebration. Now, of course, we've got Newgrange in Ireland. I'm going to follow that a little bit deeper in a minute, but it's 5 miles west of, I don't know how to pronounce this, Drogheda. The Irish amongst you will know, in County Meath. 5 miles west of Drogheda. I should have just said it once. 3,200 BC, so over 5,000 years old. And it's called the Bruna Boyne. Now I probably haven't gone anywhere near to pronouncing that right, but it means the dwelling of the deities. And we'll come to a little bit deeper exploration of the deities that lived in there and what their significance was, the Dagda and Angus. Here's one that cropped up that I'd never heard of and is fascinating. In the north of Scotland, in Aberdeenshire, at a place called Warrenfield, there's an 8,000 BC site, which is a lunar calendar. And that's just about, certainly the oldest in Europe. It's one of the oldest temples found anywhere. And this has been found in the last 20 years, I think, or thereabouts, near Craith's Castle. Fascinating. Fascinating. Let's have a song and then I'll tell you a little bit more. So, we are at, I've changed the words on this, some of you may know the original chant, I've changed it to suit the topic. We are at one with the infinite Son, forever and ever and ever. We are at one with the infinite Son, forever, forever and ever. Bless us now with your light and your warmth, weaving your magic forever. Bless us now with your light and your warmth, weaving your magic forever. Now I'd like to go on singing that for 10 minutes, and on another occasion I might, but you're spared tonight because we're covering a fair bit of ground, but it gives a hint in song of what I'm alluding to, or trying to drop these pebbles in the pond. So in 2006 I was privileged to be part of an expedition in South America, and afterwards I went travelling and I went to Bolivia, to Lake Titicaca, which is really high up and it's very cold, although it's sunny. And in Lake Titicaca there are 2 islands. There's probably more, but the 2 I remember, the island of the sun and the island of the moon. The Isla del Sol, was it? Isla del Sol and Isla de Luna. And they say that they trace this back to the Aztecs in the Aztec Empire in the 15th century, but there's evidence of occupation there going back to 8000 BC. The thing that is quite evident as I walked the island that day is that it's a holy island dedicated with temples which are clearly linked to, for me, in my Druid tradition, to the sun, to solar and to astronomical events. Of course, they were all smashed up and broken when the conquistadors came to South America. But it's quite a remarkable, inspiring place. And again, the sun was venerated, it was worshipped. So I could tell you a lot more about that place, but it was believed the sun god was born on that island. So the sun was born on that island in their culture, in their tradition. Now I mentioned, and of course we got Stonehenge. I haven't mentioned Stonehenge, but most of us will be familiar with Stonehenge. The hanging stones, Stonehenge, hanging. And of course they're 3000 BC, a bit younger than Newgrange, Stonehenge itself, but there were post holes, they were in the old car park, I remember them, fascinated. There are 9 huge host holes from 8000 BC. I think that's right. I'm not going to look it up now. I'm pretty sure it was 8000 BC. So that site, again, completely to do with the solstice, the sun, winter solstice sun. The sun as holy and to be honoured and marked. But now with going back to Newgrange, I said it was the place of the deities or some such, whatever it means. It's the home or the place where the deities live. But what deity was that? The Dagda from the Tuatha De Danann tradition, I believe. But Dagda, get this, for a god, for the sun god. Listen to this for a range of qualities attributed to the Dagda. Fertility, agriculture, manliness, whatever that is, strength, magic, druidry, wisdom. The Dagda controls life and death, the weather and crops. 3 magical tools. I mean, that alone, well, it embodies the sun for me, but he had three magical tools. The magic harp, which can control humans' emotions and change the seasons. A cauldron, which never runs empty. That would figure, if you think of it in relation to the sun. And a magic staff, one end of which kills and the other brings back to life. Maybe winter, maybe summer. One kills, one brings back to life. But Dagda, the root of the word, is a Proto-Indo-European word, so linked to Sanskrit. Dacho and Deawas. The Deawas word has D-E-I, deity, in it. And it means shining divinity, splendour. And that's what Newgrange is all about, isn't it? Honouring the midwinter sun, shining divinity, splendour, life. The sun as our all. And in Hindu, Surya, the sun, creator of the universe and the source of all life, the supreme soul bringing warmth and light. And the thing there is each day a golden chariot rises and pulls the sun disk across the sky with 7 horses. And the chariot in the Hindu tradition is reflected in, I believe, in Scandinavia and in other traditions. There's 2 or 3 around the world where this chariot is pulled across the sky with the sun disk. What's fascinating is just so many links, and the sun everywhere one looks, and why wouldn't it be? It is our life source. And of course, in Native American tradition, sun dance. The sun dance is performed to connect with spirit, and Great Spirit is the way of referring to, one way of referring to the sun. Okay. Another song, a John Lennon song. I'm only singing a snippet, you'll be spared, but limitless, undying love, which shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Limitless, undying love, which shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. La 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 la. Yeah, you can finish it later, or you can. Undying, limitless, undying love, which shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. So the sun in music. Actually, there's all sorts of songs. Saviour Rudd, follow the sun. I recommend Saviour Rudd with an X, Xavier, Saviour Rudd. John Lennon, Donovan, and who's going to be the one to say it was no good what we done? I dare a man to say I'm too young, for I'm going to try for the sun. For I'm gonna try for the sun. I think he wrote that when he was 17, the words of the song give it away. Now, we talk about trying for the sun. Here's a couple. Marcus Aurelius in Roman days. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open windows of your soul to the sun. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. Rumi, don't just sit and wait. Get out there. Feel life. Touch the sun and immerse in the sea. And this one from Sai Baba. God is the sun, and when his rays fall upon your heart, not impeded by the clouds of egotism. So God is the sun, and when his rays fall upon your heart, unimpeded by the clouds of egotism, the lotus blooms and the petals unfold. Even great men bow before the sun. It melts hubris into humility. So there's many others I could touch on, but let's leave it at that for now, and we'll move into brief visualization to connect with the sun. So inviting you to close your eyes and to take 3 deep breaths into your body. Deep breath, deep into your body. Second breath, deep into the core of your body, through your hara. Third breath into the deep cauldron at the center of your being. And in your mind's eye, I invite you to find yourself in a wood. Those of you who've travelled with me before will know roughly where we're going, but this could be new to you. You find yourself in a beautiful wood, and barefoot, because it's a beautiful day. You walk along the path through the woods, and you come to a grove, a huge sacred grove of trees. And you stop a minute to just hear the birds around you, to feel the breeze on your face, to smell the earth and the trees. And in this grove of trees, somewhere in the circle, there's a place for you to lie down, and there's a There's a natural pillow. It might be turf, might be a stone or a rock. You sit yourself or lie yourself down. And you close your eyes in that world. In that imagined world, you close your eyes. And somehow you've fallen asleep, but wake again to find that it is just before dawn. So opening your eyes in that world, in the grove, you observe coming up from the east a golden chariot pulled by 7 horses carrying the sun disk very slowly. Emerges in your vision. The sun, a golden disk, is carried through the sky on this chariot. Slowly, slowly through the sky. But time is compressed in this world where you are now. And gradually the sun makes its way to the zenith, to the midday point. Now you obviously can't look at it directly because it would blind you. But you're fully aware of it. You feel its warmth, its light shining on you. And I'm going to invite you to take just a few moments to luxuriate in that sun, to feel its warmth, to feel its beauty, to feel its love and its soul, its life force, and to really take that in and connect with it as a deity. Absorbing the rays, the healing light and rays of the sun. And what particular gift is the sun offering you in this moment? And opening your eyes in that world, in the grove, you take your time to watch the chariot pulled away across the sky towards dusk, through the afternoon and evening sky. The sun is pulled across on its journey, and gradually it sets. And you're blessed with night vision sufficient for you to get up, thank the grove, and find your way back along the path through which you travelled to get there in the first place. And you bring yourselves back here to this space, just moving fingers, toes, and having a smile. As you come back to this space, the song that comes up for me at this point and is related to the sun, join in if you want to, or just listen. Let the way of the heart Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Love upon love upon love, all hearts are beating as one. Light upon light upon light, burning as bright as the sun. And in other situations we might go on singing for another 5 or 10 minutes, but that's just a glimpse of that song in association with its solar connection, its entity. So I'm just seeing if I've missed anything especially relevant or important. There's loads more, obviously. I can but give a glimpse of the sun, but I hope it's stimulated and stirred your own inquisitive nature, and if nothing else, to recalibrate, as it has for me at least, to recalibrate the sun as being a divinity, a constant source of deity in life. And it fits for me with the Sovereign Earth vision, sun back at the centre of our veneration and our reverence. Just share with you something I say. I came up with this years ago. It was part of my Druid emergence, you could say. I place myself in the eye of the sun for the greater good, for the greater good. For the greater good in the eye of the sun, I place myself in the eye of the sun, in the eye of the sun, in the eye of the sun. For the greater good, I place myself. You get the pattern, there's a pattern in there, it's a triad. And I can go on sometimes, not often, but sometimes I can go on for a long time with that. Place myself in the eye of the sun. It's my Druid mantra, or part of it. There are other things I could say on that, but I think I've said just about enough for this evening. Okay. Did I have another song, or is that most of them? Oh, I know what I'd like to offer to finish. Of course, Ireland is deep with tradition and with Druidry and sun factor, even though it doesn't get that much sun. May the road rise with you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields. Until we meet again, may the goddess hold you in the hollow of her hand. And that blessing, how beautiful a blessing is that. There's another one, an Irish blessing. May you always walk in sunshine. May you never want for more. Sounds more like a song, doesn't it? May you always walk in sunshine. May you never want for more. Okay. Kindness is the sunshine in which virtue grows. Kindness is the sunshine in which virtue grows. Anyone who says sunshine brings happiness has never danced in the rain. The sun and moon and stars are there to guide us. The sun is such a lonely star. Whenever he comes out to see his friends, they all disappear. Okay. And the Maori say, a Maori saying from New Zealand, I'll finish on this. Turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you. Turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you. So, I hope you've enjoyed hearing and sharing and singing and journeying with me to examine and get a glimpse of the sun and not being blinded or deafened. So that's Sovereign Earth 55. The next one, Sovereign Earth 56, will be in 2 weeks' time. I think it's the 29th of December. I think the topic will be sacred sexuality. Sacred sexuality. Meanwhile, next Saturday, the 19th at 7 p.m, on the OBOD website, Order of Bards, Overettes and Druids, there is a mistletoe ceremony of which I'm part to celebrate this solstice time. And then next Friday, this Friday, there'll be Earth Service. Every Friday there's an Earth Service. Songs and reverence and silence and connection, honouring the Earth and honouring the sun. I'll bid you good night. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. I am wishing you the love of the sun. May the sun's rays rain on you. And we send this out for the benefit of all beings, what we've shared here. May all beings benefit. May all sentient beings be healed or helped in some small way. Good night. Loads of love.